Hi, you're listening to Book Chat with author Vivian E. Moore.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Hello and welcome to Book Chat. I am your host, author Vivian E. Moore. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Well, it's having a great weekend, and I hope you had a great week as well. I am not going to hold you for too long today, so we're going to get straight to today's show. The title of today's show is I Got the Power, and the topic is artistic freedom. All right, so let's get to it. All right. So for those unsure what artistic freedom means, let me start by sharing what it is not, okay? It is not doing whatever the heck you want simply because you can. Not being showy or overreaching because you're the, quote, artist, unquote. The true definition of artistic freedom is using your creative gifts and imagination to the best of your ability that benefits the writer and the reader. For me, that's what artistic freedom means. It's not to abuse the power, but to use it as a skill. All right, and it's also an expression of the artist to exhibit diversity and experience through whatever medium they desire. Creative freedom is an instrument meant to allow the artist to convey to their audience that they have something to say, okay? It's an uncensored approach of letting their work speak for itself openly and honestly. That's my definition of artistic freedom. Okay, you may have your own definition of what artistic freedom means to you, but for me, it is something to be used as a good superpower and not as a bad superpower. Just because you have the power, it does not mean that you can do whatever you want to do. Okay, as I stated before, it means using it purposefully. Okay, that's with anything that we have, any gifts that we have, and talents and things of that nature. Not to get the big head about them, but to use them, in the full intent and purpose of what was intended. Okay, we have seen so many examples of artistic freedom that confuse us, wondering what the heck is this? Okay, if you've ever seen some of the old skits on Saturday Night Live, just using those as example, and and some of that stuff is so over the top, but that is an example of artistic freedom. You could be as silly as you want, you can be as poetic as you want, but just let it make sense, okay? Let it have a purpose, an intent, and other than just to abuse the authority invested in you. All right. And generally, when you watch things where, artistic freedom has just been abused to the max, it made little sense. And if you paid to see a play or a show or whatever, listen or read it, though, you wanted a refund, okay? Because it was like, this is not what I paid for. This is garbage. I paid to see something that was entertaining, yes, but also enlightening. We want that. If you're going to use your artistic freedom, then it better be to the best of your ability. All right. So anyway, artistic freedom is often used through political mediums. We've seen that, man, haven't we? That have nothing to do with art. But it's an avenue to voice one's opinion without fear of governmental pushback. Many use the First Amendment as a statement of artistic freedom, which is fine in many cases, mainly if it addresses social and economic infractions. Now, I can't argue with you there, because that has an intent, it has a purpose. All right, it's not just intended for the person who are using their artistic freedom, but that artistic freedom is meant to empower those that that artist is speaking to, or trying to speak to, or trying to have a voice for. So it all makes sense. And then we've seen people use the First Amendment. We've seen some of our political. I'm trying to be tactful here. That's why I'm stumbling. But anyway, we've seen some of our senators and Congress people use the First Amendment as a way to say things that they know is not right, but still, they're quoting their First Amendment right, and not thinking that, okay, that's your First Amendment right, the same as is everyone else's First Amendment right. And then they get offended, when you speak about that. They don't like it because they are entitled, but you are not entitled. And the same thing applies to artists when they use their artistic freedom in ways that really does not exemplify a talent, but an abuse. And then when they later get the remarks or the reviews about, to speak about what they saw, heard, or read, if the reviews aren't favorable, then they're upset. But like I said, everything comes with limits. Whether you realize that or not, they do. They have limits. And, if you overextend that limit, then usually the outcome is something very negative. But if you use it within reason, then the outcome can be very positive. And that's what we're striving for, the positiveness of using things that are gifts, because they are, yes, you have artistic freedom, but you are expounding on that artistic freedom based on the fact that you have been given a gift. It's a gift, something that that you can use to change lives, to inspire other people, that it may change their lives. You just never know. But however, in the creative world, artistic freedom is open for interpretation. That's with anything. Everything is up for interpretation, okay? What you see, someone else may not see. All right? But, it is a means to think bigger and better, if you will, outside the norms of expectations. We always want to meet expectations, but sometimes when you use that artistic freedom in the right way, you can increase those expectations, and it just turns out to be something wonderful. And then on the other end, you can abuse those artistic freedoms, and go outside of the expectations, and then it not be upper but lower. The expectation has been decreased because you sort of overdid it a little bit. You've heard of people overacting. Okay, so that's sort of what using your artistic freedom in a negative way. That's the result of it. It's like you overdid it. That was unnecessary. You could have just stay between the lines. Yes, go reach to the top of the line, but don't go overboard, because that's just too much. Sometimes you just less is just more. Okay, just always keep that thought in mind. Less is more. And true artistic freedom is innovative, it's inspiring, and the conduit that allows words, imagery, and sound to infiltrate the minds of those who want the full effect of what the artist is trying to portray through their work. All right? And that's it. That's the gist of it right there. All right. So creative freedom is a superpower. And it is. It's a superpower. And it's also a privilege. Not to be abused, but used liberally to affect change and empower the minds of future artists. Everything we do, comes with circumstances. And we always want... We don't usually want the repercussions that comes with those circumstances, but we always want a positive outcome and not a negative outcome. So just be mindful of, if you're tempted to do something simply because you can do it, just think about the situations and the repercussions that may come as a result of you, abusing or, just pushing it to the limit or pushing it past the limit, because as I say again, there are limits. And as artists, you wield power with the stroke of a pen, brush, or microphone. But with anything, that power can be addictive and again overused. So keep that in mind when invoking your rights to creative freedom. All right, so that is our show for today. But before I let you go, I want to make sure that I give you these URLs, although you can simply just go to https://www.spreaker.com/user/Arthur Vivian Moore and listen to Spreaker live each Saturday at 6. Or you can just click the link on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and also on TikTok. You can do that, and like it, share it, if you will. Also, if you want to keep track of me, you can go to my website. That is at authorvivianymore.com or authorehshepherd.com. And if you will, you can check out my blog site. That is at https://vivianymore.blogspot.com. And if you missed today's live show, you can always listen to the recorded episodes on anywhere where you listen to podcasts, basically. But I always try to help you out a little bit by, tossing out some of the names where you can just go out there and just type in Apple Podcasts, type in Book Chat with Author Vivian Moore, just to simplify it a little bit more for you so you don't have to go searching for it. But anyway, you can listen to it on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, CastBox. Those are 2 different places, okay? Podcast Addict, Podchaser, YouTube, SoundCloud, JAWS7, iTunes, Audible.com, Verbal, Luminary, and Amazon. All right, so those are all the places where you can listen to Book Chat, and I hope you will, and I hope you will share that information with others. Tomorrow is the 4th Sunday. Wow, July is like, oh my goodness, it's like on a rocket. It's just going so fast. It just started, and we're already almost to the end of it. Good gracious alive. But anyway, this is the 4th Sunday. Excited about it. Last Sunday we had a child. He's 9 years old. Came as a candidate for baptism, and and he came and he stepped into that water. But before he stepped into that water, he knew exactly what he was doing. He was happy about it. We were happy for him. He was excited. Went into the water, came out equally happy and excited. So that's what I love to see, especially in anyone who's given their life to Christ, but for a child, who really doesn't even know what life is about, but they know that much, that this is where it starts. So I'm excited, and I know that there are only great things ahead for this young man. But anyway, tomorrow is 4th Sunday, and I hope you're planning on attending church somewhere. If you can't get out due to COVID, and it is on the rise again, so you want to be careful. Just be careful, but still tune in if you can listen to it, across social media, if you can stream it, or if you can listen to it through Zoom calls or Skype calls or whatever. Any medium that's available to you, please do that, because we need to hear some good words. Let me tell you, and the more good words we get, the better off we will all be. All right. So, and also remember to tell all the ones who you care about the most how you feel about them, because tomorrow is not promised. Today may be the only chance you get to say that. So I love you. I hope you love me back. Until the next time you hear my voice, God bless you and goodbye.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.